Ever since film historian Ronald Haver recorded an audio commentary track for a King Kong Laserdisc, it's become an extra way to learn about the making of your favorite movies and even television shows. Whether done by the filmmakers themselves or critics, the best commentaries can prove entertaining and informative. And I'm going to celebrate this bonus feature by naming the ones I've enjoyed the most. So here are my top 10 favorite audio commentaries. Shrek. This might actually be the first audio commentary I ever listened to, but I'm not including this on the list for nostalgia's sake. Directors Andrew Adamson and Vicki Jensen and producer Aaron Warner talk us through every step of making Shrek, from story to technical elements, and they do it with plenty of humor and charm. They also point out fun background details and tell funny stories, like their reaction to premiering the movie at the Cannes Film Festival. Listening to this commentary really made me appreciate the talents behind animated films even more, and the thought they put into every frame. By the way, the Shrek 2 commentary is also worth a listen. Aliens. This one packs in a massive amount of participants, including the special effects team, some of the actors, producer Gale Ann Hurd, and of course, James Cameron. This is one of those commentaries that edits together multiple audio sessions into one track, but it's done in a way that's still coherent, and everyone gets to say their piece. Although Cameron is the person who understandably dominates the track, and he leaves no stone unturned in talking about how the sequel came together. The commentators are also open about the challenges in making Aliens, and so the result ends up an extremely informative behind-the-scenes discussion that makes one appreciate the finished film all the more. Fantasia, specifically the commentary recorded for the Blu-ray by film historian Brian Sibley. It's an excellent overview of how this classic animated film was made, as well as his own viewpoints and opinions on what makes each segment work. Sibley even comments on the parts that have been cut from the film, like Sunflower, and whether this is the right call. Throughout, he also provides biographical information about many of the artists who worked on Fantasia and the historical context of what was going on at the studio during the time. It's exactly the commentary one would hope from an historian talking about an important and classic piece of cinema, as Sibley is filled with knowledge on the subject, but never comes across as dry. This is a worthy commentary for one of the Walt Disney Studios' greatest achievements. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. There are actually 4 audio commentaries on the Scott Pilgrim disc, but the one I'm talking about has director Edgar Wright, co-writer Michael Bacall, and the original comic book's creator Brian Lee O'Malley. If you've seen Wright in interviews, you know he's incredibly energetic, and that comes through in this commentary, and we sense his enthusiasm for the material. It's a fantastic conversation between this trio, with emphasis on the adaptation and filming in Toronto. Wright also points out a lot of great details and relates stories about the production and working with the actors. It's also wonderful to learn about O'Malley's inspiration when writing the graphic novels, so this ends up becoming a commentary for both the comics and the film adaptation. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is a movie full of pizzazz and creativity, and this commentary is a fitting listen. UHF. Most of the commentaries on this list tend to give an informative approach, but with their commentary for that only feature film, Weird Al Yankovic and his director/manager Jay Levy mostly tell jokes, making fun of their experience making the movie. And it's a delight. You know you're going to listen to something fun when Weird Al starts the commentary singing lyrics for the Orion Pictures logo, and I admit I can no longer watch the Orion logo without hearing those words.
Orion is bankrupt now.
They do provide some fun insights, including Orion's treatment of the movie, and prove very self-deprecating. Weird Al also goes over the movie's box office performance, any critical reaction, and the things that he wanted to include in UHF. A few special guests also show up, and this audio commentary becomes a great showcase for Weird Al's non-parody humor. Phil Lord and Chris Miller's commentaries. I debated whether to include the commentary for Cloud of Chance Meatballs, the Lego Movie, or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, as all are excellent and funny tracks. In the end, I decided to include all 3 together. I just really like listening to these 2 filmmakers talk, and they provide an incredible amount of insight into how these movies were made and the fun had along the way. Their commentaries are a great way to not only learn about how they approach these movies, but because the films are usually packed with background details, they point out some neat ones we may have missed. Because of their Lego Movie commentary, there is one visual gag involving a pig I always watch out for. They're not alone though. Bill Hader joins them to discuss Cloudy, 5 cast members participate in the Lego Movie track, and of course Spider-Verse directors Peter Ramsey, Rodney Rothman, and Bob Pertichetti are involved in that discussion. Everyone brings their comedy A-game, resulting in really entertaining commentaries. Beauty and the Beast, with directors Gary Trousdale and Kirk Wise and producer Don Hahn, along with additional comments from Alan Menken, this becomes a wonderful look at what went into the making of this beloved animated production. Their discussion has the needed liveliness and their multiple laugh-out-loud moments. However, they also talk about the process of creating Beauty and the Beast and all the animation and music decisions that come with the territory. They managed to cover everything through the film's entire runtime, and it's as engaging as one might hope. Trousdale, Wise, and Hahn also recorded a similarly great commentary for The Hunchback of Notre Dame, so it appears you cannot go wrong when putting this group of people together to discuss the production of their animated films. Roger Ebert's commentaries for Casablanca and Citizen Kane. Ebert recorded commentaries for a number of movies, including Dark City and Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. However, the ones I'm familiar with are his recordings for these two immortal classics from the early 40s. He unsurprisingly looks at them from a historical perspective, but he also puts his critic hat on, analyzing precisely why these films have stood the test of time. He also explores the incredible filmmaking techniques utilized by Michael Curtiz and Orson Welles. He presents his own interpretations on the themes and the myths surrounding these movies over the years, as well as his personal connection to them. He really allows these commentaries to be more than mere history lessons. The Pixar Commentaries. I've mentioned that I like audio commentaries that mix educational info with a light and breezy tone, and the commentaries recorded for Pixar films definitely fall into this. The filmmakers come prepared with many stories, which is understandable considering how long these films take to make. It's fascinating hearing them talk about discarded story concepts, and we learn who specifically came up with certain storytelling choices or visual ideas. However, they also keep things funny, leading to many great moments. Finding Nemo is a track that's frequently hilarious. And The Incredibles commentary is where Brad Bird's infamous rant about hating animation being called a genre originated.
And next time I hear, oh, what's it like working in the animation genre? I'm gonna punch that person.
Pixar would even experiment with what commentaries and DVDs were capable of. For example, the Finding Nemo commentary would add in bonus clips during the appropriate spots, and a few of the Blu-rays included a feature called Cinexplore, with storyboards, concept art, and other neat images appearing on screen during the commentary, although they stopped doing this after Toy Story 3 for some reason. Overall, I've long found the discs for Pixar films to be excellent quality, and that includes the commentaries recorded for them. And my favorite audio commentary is Mallrats. With commentaries for classic films, massive blockbusters, Oscar-winning productions, and beloved animated movies available, it probably seems surprising that my favorite commentary would be for Kevin Smith comedy about 20-somethings in a shopping mall. But I honestly think this is the most enjoyable commentary I've listened to. With Smith joined by producer Scott Mosier, production assistant Vincent Pereira, and actors Jason Lee, Ben Affleck, and Jason Mewes, it really feels like a bunch of friends coming together and having fun reminiscing about making their first studio film. There's a lot of goofing off in a way that always produces entertaining stories, and there are even running gags. And if you know anything about Kevin Smith, you know he loves to talk, and he has a great time discussing his time on Mallrats, including dealing with movie producers, coping with filming in a mall, having to cut jokes the studio disapproved of, and even a humorous altercation with the production team on Fargo, which was filming nearby. I find this an endlessly rewatchable commentary I occasionally pop on to have a good laugh, and that's why I put it in the #1 spot. Now, what are your favorite audio commentaries? I'd love to read your own recommendations for ones worth listening to, and I'll see you next time.